With just 2 fingers and a smug grin, he ripped the contract clean down the middle. Backlash, $2.8 million straight down the toilet, he announced, making sure everyone in the boardroom heard him. He didn't even glance my way. Just a casual flick of the wrist, like it meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. This is disgraceful, he scoffed. You're clearly not cut out for high-stakes business. I held his gaze steady, my voice calm and even. You're absolutely right, sir. What he didn't realize, what none of them knew, was that something far bigger was already in motion. And this time, it wasn't a deal. It was a strategy. His name? Charles Whitman. To most, he was a corporate giant. But to me, he was my wife's father. That day in his mansion's grand foyer was the first time we met. He locked eyes with me, slapped a heavy hand on my shoulder, and said, "You'll never be worthy of her. But at least you're ambitious." I should have walked away then. But instead, I set out to prove him wrong. I worked double the hours, chased double the targets, and climbed the ladder faster than most would dare. Maybe too fast, but I brought in revenue, massive returns. Enough that he grudgingly allowed me to marry his daughter, Claire. Or maybe he just saw another way to keep me on a leash. I was the outsider who wormed his way into the family. And then, I became a liability. He waited, patiently, until I delivered the crown jewel of my career, a software integration package that could have streamlined their entire operation and saved the company tens of millions. And right there, in front of every executive, he shredded it. Publicly, symbolically. The warning signs had already started weeks earlier. Claire began coming home late. Her clothes faintly carried the same cologne her father wore. Not him exactly, but the fragrance he was known for. I brushed it off at first. We were both swamped with work. She was being groomed for the COO role, after all. But then, her texts changed. Dry, distant, robotic, like I was just another colleague. So I did something I'm not proud of. I accessed our shared iCloud. And that's where I found it. A message she sent. He doesn't suspect anything. Still thinks it's his promotion. That was the breaking point. Not the torn contract. Not her cold eyes. That message was the blade. Pain doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. And when it whispered, I paid attention. I stopped pushing. Stopped questioning. I started building. Step 1. I made copies of everything I'd ever touched at Whitman Industries. Files, proposals, emails, even casual notes. I compiled a digital ledger of every project I'd contributed to and those I'd been blocked from. Then, I accessed Claire's laptop. She never changed her passwords. Their conversations laid it all bare. They planned to disgrace me in front of the board, sever ties cleanly, and rebrand my work as Claire's innovation, a PR move to solidify her as the visionary future of the company. They even had a name for it, the restructure. She wasn't a bystander. She helped design it. So, I built a contingency. For 3 years, in the shadows of my day job, I'd been developing something of my own, an AI logistics platform so advanced it made our company's current system look like dial-up internet. I never released the software while I was still shackled under Whitman's control. Instead, I refined it behind the scenes, cleaned it up, polished the interface, and quietly presented it to his fiercest rival. No name attached, no traces, just the product. They bit immediately. While Charles Whitman was busy crafting the stage for my downfall, I was quietly writing the first act of my retain. The counterstrike began on a Thursday, exactly 1 day after he shredded my proposal like it was trash. I walked into his office holding 2 things, a flash drive and my resignation letter. He didn't even bother to glance up. "Back already? Done licking your wounds," he muttered. I laid the letter on his desk. He skimmed the first few lines, then gave me a smack. "No hard feelings, I hope." I smiled right back. "Not at all, sir." Then I placed the flash drive beside the letter. "What's that supposed to be?" he asked. "Proof," I said, "that you just burned $2.8 million because you needed to feel like the biggest man in the room." He scoffed. You don't work here anymore. I leaned in slightly. No, I don't. Which means your NDA doesn't apply to me anymore. And your competitors, they are very interested in what I've built. His expression barely changed, but I caught it. A subtle twitch in his jaw, a single nerve betraying him. You're bluffing, he said. I said nothing, just turned, walked out, and let the silence burn behind me. 3 days later, the news broke. Sabach acquires stealth mode logistics startup headed by former Whitman executive. The headlines made waves. Whitman's board panicked. In 48 hours, their stock lost 18% of its value. But that was only the opening blow. The real impact hit at the shareholder meeting. I wasn't there. Didn't need to be. I had already sent everything to the SEC. Every doctored report Claire had submitted. Every shady stock maneuver her father approved to inflate their quarters numbers. When federal agents walked through those doors, Claire fell apart. She cried out loud. It wasn't me. It was Charles. But he said nothing. He just sat in that chair, quiet as stone, wearing the face of a man who'd just heard a whisper, but too late to stop it. Funny, really. I don't even remember what he said that day as much as the emptiness in his eyes. I did visit him before the trial. Yes, I wanted to see him. He looked at me through the glass and said, "You destroyed everything." I leaned forward. "No," I said. "You did. I just brought the receipts." He got 9 years. Claire cut a deal to avoid prison. Now she teaches beginner coding courses online. The irony isn't lost on me. Every now and then, I pour a glass of scotch and take out the pieces of that contract he tore apart in front of everyone. I kept them all, every strip, painstakingly taped back together, mounted in a frame. It hangs in my office now, not as a reminder of what I lost, but as a trophy of the day he thought he broke me, when in truth, that was the moment I took everything.